For thousands of years, humans had helped the galaxy. They brought peace where there was war. They healed diseases that had no cure. They taught science, shared food, and even protected weaker races from powerful enemies. Everyone respected them. Everyone needed them. But no one truly valued them. And then, one day, humans disappeared. No messages, no goodbyes, no war, just silence. At first, the galaxy thought it was a mistake. "Maybe Earth is quiet for now," said one alien ambassador. "Maybe they're planning something new," said another. But weeks passed, then months, then years. Not a single ship came from Earth. No human embassies responded. Galactic stations where humans once worked were empty. Their powerful AI systems went offline. Medical labs, spaceports, research hubs, all closed. One day, a cargo ship from the Varnak system arrived at Earth's space zone. It tried to contact Earth Control. No answer. The ship got closer, but then something strange happened. A barrier appeared, pure energy, invisible to the eye, but deadly to anything that touched it. The Varnak ship's systems fried instantly. Its crew barely escaped with their lives. The message was clear. No one is allowed in. Not anymore. Panic started to spread. The Galactic Council held emergency meetings. How can we survive without human tech? Who will manage the medicine they gave us? What about the peacekeeping fleets led by Earth? Fear gripped the stars. Alien worlds that had become rich and peaceful thanks to Earth's help now faced hunger and war. Ships broke down. Plagues returned. Old enemies started to rise again. But why? Why did humans leave? The truth was hard to accept. Earth had warned them. 50 years before the silence, Earth's leaders spoke many times at the Galactic Council. A human named Ambassador Kira stood before the leaders of 200 worlds and said, "We help, we share, but you take us for granted. You use our knowledge like tools. You betray our trust for power. This must stop." Many laughed. Some even walked out of the meeting. The Zarkan Empire called them emotional primitives. The Creel Syndicate said Earth was too soft to be serious. And the Council? They said nothing. So Earth went quiet. Slowly at first. They shut down some labs. They stopped sending aid fleets. They closed the Human Academy. Then they left the Council. Peacefully, without threats. One by one, they closed every door. And then, they were gone. Now, the galaxy was beginning to feel what they had lost. Without Earth, there was no one to stop the Thraxian invasions, no one to share food with starving moons, no one to stop plague outbreaks on the Harnuk colonies. Billions were suffering. They sent ships to Earth again, but none returned. Some tried to break the barrier. Their fleets vanished. One rogue commander from the Zarkan Empire tried to send a stealth drone past the barrier. It was destroyed in less than a second by an unknown force. No explosion, no warning, just gone. That's when they realized. This was not a revenge. It was a decision. Earth didn't want war. Earth didn't want power. They just didn't want to help anymore. Because they were tired. Tired of being used. Tired of being insulted. Tired of giving everything and receiving nothing. A young alien historian named Lura from the Inari archives studied old human broadcasts. She found a message, never shown before. It was a speech by a human general before the last peace mission Earth ever sent. "We love this galaxy," he said, "but love is not slavery. We came in peace. We gave knowledge. But the moment we stopped giving, you all turned cold. So we are leaving, not with hate, but with hope. Hope that one day you will understand." Now, as the galaxy burned, the truth was clear. Humans were not gods. They were not monsters. They were just tired souls who had tried their best and were pushed too far. And when they finally walked away, no one was ready. Now, across the stars, one message was heard in whispers. They begged humans to stay. But it was too late to undo the damage. Years before the silence began, Earth had already seen the danger coming. Humans were smart. They had lived through war, betrayal, and pain on their own planet. They had learned the hard way what trust really meant. So when they entered the galaxy and saw the same patterns, greed, lies, power games, they knew what was coming. But they still chose to help. Humans believed they could change things. They believed they could make the galaxy better. And for a while, they did. Their hospitals cured diseases that killed entire species. Their engineers rebuilt shattered planets. Their peacekeepers stopped ancient wars between powerful empires. But slowly, things started to change. The galaxy didn't want friendship. It wanted control. Alien leaders took human knowledge, but gave nothing back. They smiled in meetings but plotted behind closed doors. Some species even began copying human weapons and selling them to criminals. Others used Earth's peaceful tech to build superweapons in secret. Humans found out. They called for meetings. Ambassador Kira, Earth's top voice in the council, gave a powerful speech. We share because we care, but we are not fools. If you continue to abuse our gifts, we will walk away. The council didn't listen. The Zarkan Empire called Earth too emotional. The Creel laughed and said, "Let them leave. We'll survive." Behind the scenes, secret messages flew between alien empires. Plans were made to take Earth's technology by force if needed. But Earth was watching. They had already started building something called Project Quiet Sky. Only a few humans knew about it. It was not a weapon. It was not a war plan. It was a way to disappear. A complete shutdown of all human systems across the galaxy. Fast, silent, total. Earth wouldn't fight back. It would simply vanish. But before that day came, humans still tried to warn the galaxy. They sent reports, letters, and peaceful requests. Stop selling our weapons. Use our medical tech responsibly. Don't reverse engineer AI built for peace. Most were ignored. One alien governor even mocked Earth's message, saying, "Humans act like they are our parents, but they forget they are still new to the galaxy." Still, Earth gave one final warning. A broadcast sent in 200 languages, seen by billions. If we must leave, we will leave completely. No support, no protection, no second chances. Do not push us into silence. But the galaxy didn't care. They had grown too used to human help, too confident, too proud. They believed Earth would never leave. They thought humans needed them. They were wrong. One by one, human bases in alien space shut down. Research stations went dark. Ships stopped answering calls. Earth's embassies were closed. Earth-born androids, which had helped run entire cities, returned home. And then, the human fleets returned to Sol, the solar system. Every ship, every satellite, every eye. The Council sent a message. We demand answers. You cannot just leave. Earth's reply was cold and clear. You had your answers. You just didn't want to hear them. Still, no one believed Earth would actually go silent. Even as the last human message faded, the Council laughed in secret meetings. One general said, "Let them hide. We have their tech. We can make more." But they were wrong again. The galaxy didn't understand. Human tech wasn't just machines. It was living systems, tied to Earth's code, its signals, and its people. Without human input, the tech began to fail. Ships stopped working. Medical pods went into lockdown. Programs shut down, refusing to listen to non-human voices. Suddenly, everything that made the galaxy strong was breaking apart. And it was too late. The Council sent ambassadors to Earth. They begged for a meeting. They offered money, power, even seats for Earth to leave the Council. Earth said nothing. The barrier around the solar system had already been activated. It was a final act. Operation Quiet Sky was complete. And now, the galaxy would have to survive on its own. A Creel commander named Vorlon stood in front of the council and said, "We treated them like tools. Now we see they were the only ones holding this galaxy together." But his words came too late. Across the stars, fires burned. Civil wars started. Old enemies returned. And the species that once laughed at Earth were now afraid. They remembered the warning. They remembered the silence. And they realized this was never about revenge. It was about respect. And they had failed to give it. Now, the galaxy stood alone. No more human aid. No more human peace. Only the memory of a voice that had warned them again and again. Do not push us into silence. And yet, they had. The silence of Earth did not just echo. It screamed. Across every system in the galaxy, the effects of Earth's departure were starting to show. First came the technical failures. Entire fleets that ran on human-designed star cores stopped working. Power grids collapsed on planets that used Earth's fusion tech. Hospitals that relied on human nanobots could no longer treat patients. People died. And no one knew how to fix the systems. For years, the galaxy had grown lazy. Why learn how it works? They used to say, humans will fix it. But now, the humans were gone. And the galaxy was breaking piece by piece. On the planet Virelon, water systems controlled by human-built AI malfunctioned. Fresh water turned into toxic floods. Over 20 million people were forced to leave their cities. On Nektal Station, a spaceport used by hundreds of species, gravity controls failed. Cargo floated freely. People were injured. Trade stopped. Soon after, crime spread like wildfire. Without Earth's peacekeeping fleets, pirates returned to deep space. Old warlords rose from hiding. The Thraxian raiders, once hunted down by human forces, launched attacks on border colonies. Within days, they took control of 3 star systems. The Creel Syndicate, once proud and powerful, lost control of its trade routes. Their main AI hub, built by Earth, refused to respond. They tried to reprogram it. The system responded with one sentence. This system recognizes no master but Earth. Desperation spread. Galactic Council leaders panicked. Meetings turned into shouting matches. Old rivalries returned. Even allies began to turn on each other. They blamed each other for Earth's departure. But deep down, they all knew the truth. They had ignored the warnings. They had pushed too far. And now, they were paying the price. On a cold planet called Ryle 3, a small group of scientists studied the remains of human tech. They were trying to reverse engineer a simple Earth-made reactor. It exploded. Everyone in the lab died. The galaxy was not just collapsing physically. It was collapsing mentally. Hope was dying. People began to say Earth's name like a myth. Maybe the humans will return. Maybe they're watching us from behind that barrier. But the barrier remained strong. Ships that got too close were quietly pushed back by invisible force fields. No message, no attack. Just silence. Some brave leaders tried to fix things. They began teaching their people how to survive without Earth. They reopened old schools. They sent out repair teams. But their own people didn't listen. Why should we work? They said. Earth always did everything. Now, there was no Earth to help. On a peaceful world named Celeria, a young alien child asked her father, "Who were the humans?" The father looked up at the sky. They were the ones who helped us, until we stopped treating them like people. In deep space, the once glorious Galactic Unity Fleet, created with Earth's help, was now in ruins. Half of the ships had no working engines. The rest had no captains who could fly them. Without humans, nothing made sense. And while the galaxy suffered, Earth remained silent. No ships, no signals, nothing. But on the far edge of the galaxy, hidden in deep shadow, something new began to move. A strange signal old and encrypted in Earth's forgotten code, was picked up by a listening post. The message was short, just one line. The test has begun. No one could understand what it meant. Was it real? Was it fake? But those who still remembered Earth's last words began to worry. Because if this was a test, then the galaxy was failing. And Earth was watching. In the darkness, one truth became clear to all. Humanity was not gone. They had simply stepped away to see what the galaxy would become without them. And the answer was becoming more painful each day. The galaxy thought Earth had vanished, but it hadn't. Hidden behind the powerful energy field surrounding the solar system, Earth was alive, watching, waiting, learning. From a secret command center buried under Antarctica, a group known only as the Watchers observed everything. Dozens of screens showed live footage from deep space. Satellites that no one knew existed were still active, quietly recording the collapse of the galaxy. Earth hadn't truly left. It had stepped back to see who was worthy of its trust. General Elena Cortez stood at the center of the command room. Her eyes were cold but calm. She turned to her officers. "Report." One officer replied, 17 worlds have fallen to internal rebellion. 5 major trade routes are under pirate control. The Creel Syndicate is begging for peace talks." Another added, "The Thraxian raiders have overextended. They're running out of supplies. Without human fuel tech, their ships are breaking down." Alina nodded. "It's exactly as predicted. This wasn't revenge. This was a test." Earth had seen the future long ago and prepared for this moment. They had given the galaxy everything: technology, medicine, peace, and the galaxy had used it for power and profit. So now, Earth was watching to see which species would rise and which would fall. Every message sent in the galaxy was intercepted. Every system failure was recorded. Earth's AI, known as Athena, silently processed trillions of data points each second. On one screen, they watched a desperate call from a frontier colony. "This is Colony V11. We are under attack by pirates. We need assistance. Please, if anyone is listening. Earth, help us." The room stayed silent. Athena's voice, calm and emotionless, said, "No action required. Let them stand alone." But not all of Earth was cold. In a hidden dome under Mars, a council of philosophers, historians, and diplomats met daily. Their job was not war, but wisdom. Dr. Elric Sato, a former ambassador to the Galactic Council, paced the room. "They are breaking faster than expected," he said. "We may lose the entire outer rim." An older woman, Counselor Yara Lin, shook her head. "No, we're not here to save everyone. We're here to see who learns, who changes, who regrets." They had a list of species that once stood with Earth when things began to turn bad. The peaceful Urathi, who always respected Earth's help. The small, insect-like Brenari, who offered to share their homeworld with human refugees. The brave few from the Orathi Guard, who tried to stop the Creel from stealing Earth's tech. These species were marked in green. Potential allies. Then there was the red list. The Creel, the Zarkan Empire, the corrupt council leaders, those who laughed at Earth, those who betrayed, those who would face silence for a very long time. On the moon, deep beneath the gray surface, lay the secret that gave Earth its confidence. Project Arclight. Thousands of advanced warships, sleeping in hidden bunkers. Each one powered by Earth's most powerful AI cores. Each one ready to awaken in seconds. But they remained still. Because this wasn't a war. Not yet. Back in the command room, General Cortez looked at the stars beyond the energy barrier. "Let them feel the cold," she whispered. "Only then will they understand the warmth they lost." She turned to Athena. "Have any species sent true messages of apology?" Athena scanned the data. "No, only requests for aid, offers of trade, or threats disguised as diplomacy." The general sighed. They haven't learned anything yet. But something small had changed. On a far-off world, a group of young aliens, too young to remember the days of human aid, had started a school. They called it the Way of Earth. They studied human history. They taught about peace, unity, strength through kindness. And they sent a message, not to the council, but directly toward the solar system. We were not the ones who hurt you, but we will be the ones who remember you. Athena received the signal. For the first time, she paused. General Cortez raised an eyebrow. What is it? Athena replied, softly, hope. Earth was not finished. It was waiting. It was watching. And one day soon, when the galaxy was finally ready to listen, not to control, not to demand, but to understand, Earth might answer. But until then, silence would speak louder than words. Months passed. The galaxy was falling apart, yet on the surface, things looked calm again. Some trade routes reopened. Some power systems were repaired using old backups. The Galactic Council announced a new era of stability. But it was all a lie. Beneath this fake peace, fear was growing. No one trusted anyone anymore. Allies turned into rivals. Every species blamed the other for Earth's silence. Even within planets, governments were falling. Leaders were being replaced overnight. The Council pretended everything was under control. But their faces said something else. Worry, doubt, panic. In secret meetings, they spoke in whispers. What if Earth is building a weapon? What if they come back, not as friends, but as conquerors? One council member, Sarek of Dreth, slammed his hand on the table. They were only strong because we allowed them to be. We must prepare our fleets, strike before they do. Others disagreed. They gave us everything. We betrayed them. But Sarek was loud, and fear made his words louder. Soon, fleets began moving again. Not to explore, not to protect, but to surround Earth. Ships from 10 different species slowly made their way toward the solar system. Not too close, but close enough to show strength. They called it a defensive measure. But everyone knew. It was a threat. Inside Earth's invisible barrier, the Watchers saw everything. General Cortez narrowed her eyes. They still don't understand, she said. Athena's voice echoed across the control room. 78% of enemy ships are using outdated Earth drives. They cannot sustain orbit for long without Earth's fuel cells. They're bluffing, said an officer. But another voice spoke up. Dr. Elric Sato, from the Mars Council. They don't want war. They're trying to act strong. But it's weakness wearing a mask. General Cortez nodded slowly. And masks break. Meanwhile, the citizens of the galaxy were not fooled by the Council's fake peace. In the markets of Zarnus Prime, angry crowds gathered. They shouted at Council banners, burned trade contracts, and demanded answers. Where is Earth? Why did they leave us? In schools, young aliens whispered human stories like legends. Some believed Earth had become a godlike force. Others thought they had built their own galaxy and moved there. But one thing was clear. They were missed. And more importantly, they were feared. Because no one knew what Earth was planning. The false peace cracked further when a mysterious explosion hit a Council outpost near the Lurith Belt. Ships were destroyed. No one claimed responsibility. The Council blamed Earth, but Earth had done nothing. They didn't have to. Fear was doing the job for them. Back on Earth, the Watchers watched silently. General Cortez turned to Athena. Prepare message package Black Echo. Don't send it. Just have it ready. Athena responded. Message Black Echo ready. One word from us, and the galaxy will kneel. But Cortez stayed quiet. Not yet. She walked through a long hallway under Antarctica, where ancient human flags were kept. Each flag belonged to an era. World wars, space exploration, colonization of Mars, the Unity Treaty. At the end of the hallway was a single plaque with a quote. We offered peace. They answered with pride. She placed her hand on the wall. Then she whispered, "We are not your enemies, but we are no longer your servants." Back in space, the fleets surrounding Earth began to suffer. Their fuel ran low. Systems failed, slowly, then faster. Even their weapons stopped responding. One by one, the ships began to fall back. Not because of war, because they were unprepared to face Earth without Earth's help. The galaxy had built its entire power on human shoulders. Now that those shoulders had stepped away, everything was crumbling, and the false peace shattered completely. In the darkness of the void, one silent truth echoed louder than any war drum. You cannot threaten the hand that once held you. Earth had not fired a single shot, had not spoken a single word, but it had done something far more terrifying. It had left the galaxy to face itself. And now, the galaxy was breaking. The galaxy trembled in silence. The fleets that had once surrounded Earth slowly drifted away, unsure of what to do. Every system was failing. Every power structure was crumbling. The false peace was gone. Now, only fear remained. The Galactic Council was in chaos. The leaders who once ruled with confidence now argued constantly. Some called for war, claiming Earth would come back with revenge. Others suggested surrender, but no one trusted anyone. On a far-off planet, a small council of leaders gathered in secret. The Zarkan Empire's ambassador, Kaldros, spoke nervously. "We need a plan," he said. "The pirates are taking over. The markets are empty. The council is weak." A younger leader, Calix of the Eurythi, clenched his fists. "You think Earth is our enemy now? You think they will forgive us for the betrayal, after everything we did?" The room fell silent. No one knew the answer. Some leaders argued for fighting back, hoping that their fleets could scare Earth into returning. Others said nothing. They were lost, desperate. But the truth was clear to everyone. No one could face Earth alone. On the other side of the galaxy, the Brenari, small insect-like beings once allies of Earth, were trying to negotiate with their neighbors. But even they felt the weight of the disaster. Queen Zilaria of the Brenari stood before her people, her antennae twitching nervously. "We have to send a message. It's the only way." But the other species were afraid. They believed that Earth was too far gone, that no message could change what had already happened. "We need to apologize," Zilaria insisted. "We owe Earth that much." Meanwhile, far beyond the galaxy's borders, General Cortez stood before her officers in the hidden command room beneath Earth's surface. "They're scared," she said. "They can't fix their problems. Not without us." Athena's calm voice echoed in the room. Galaxy-wide communication initiated. Message requested by Brenari confirmed. Awaiting response. General Cortez thought for a moment. She had seen the galaxy fall apart. She had watched it destroy itself. But she wasn't sure if this was the moment to respond. "Send the message, but we stay silent for now." For weeks, Earth remained still, silent. The Watchers watched, and the rest of the galaxy pleaded for forgiveness. And then, one day, the message came. It was not a message of threats or demands. It was a message of regret. "To the children of Earth, the greatest mistake of our species was to turn our back on you. The galaxy has suffered. We have seen our arrogance destroy what we once took for granted. Our people are divided. Our ships are failing. Our fleets are empty. We were wrong, and we beg you, please, come back." The message was broadcast across every system, reaching the very edge of the galaxy. It was desperate, raw, and humble. The galaxy waited for Earth's response. Inside the secret command room, General Cortez watched the transmission. Athena's voice broke the silence. "Message received, sending response, or withholding." For a moment, General Cortez remained silent. Her mind raced. She remembered the days when Earth had given everything to the galaxy, only to be betrayed in return. She thought of the brave soldiers, the scientists, the children who had never known peace because of this betrayal. Then she turned to Athena. Hold the response. Let them wait. For days, the galaxy sat in uncertainty. No response came from Earth, but the message hung over everyone, like a dark cloud. At the edges of the galaxy, where the outer colonies used to thrive, a new kind of leader was emerging. They weren't from the largest empires. They weren't part of the council. They were survivors, small groups of people who had seen Earth's kindness and were determined to live differently. One such leader, Edric of the Oleran people, stood on the steps of his people's homeworld. The skies above him were dark, but in his eyes there was hope. We must show them we can change. We can be better, he said to his followers. And so, the message spread across the galaxy. Not from the leaders, but from the survivors, from the children of the stars who had learned from Earth. We do not deserve Earth's mercy, but we will earn it. We will change. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Earth responded. But the response wasn't what the galaxy expected. We are watching. We are waiting. But there is no mercy in the hands of those who cannot change. We gave you our kindness. We gave you our strength. You must prove you are worthy of our help. The message was clear. Earth was not a savior anymore. It was not a ruler. It was something else, silent, patient, watching from the shadows. And the galaxy, for the first time, understood what it had lost. Earth was waiting to see who would rise and who would fall. The galaxy was silent. The message had been sent. The response had been delivered. And yet, something strange had happened. The galaxy had changed. Earth, once the protector of countless worlds, had pulled away, waiting, watching. It had given the galaxy a chance to prove that it could rise above its mistakes. But for the first time, the galaxy realized something deeply unsettling. There was no guarantee of Earth's mercy. Now, every species, every leader, every survivor was forced to face their own choices. Some had already given up. They had accepted their fate, knowing Earth would never return to save them. Others, however, were determined to fight, not just to survive, but to earn forgiveness. On the planet Valor, a small group of resistance fighters gathered in the shadows, away from the eyes of the Galactic Council. They had once been enemies of Earth. They had tried to take control of the trade routes, ignoring Earth's warnings. But now, they saw a different path. Commander Rallner stood at the front, his voice low and serious. We betrayed Earth, but we will not go down without a fight. We will prove we can stand on our own. And we will ask for forgiveness. His words echoed through the room, and for the first time, the fighters felt something they hadn't felt in years. Hope. They would show Earth that they had learned. They would show Earth they had changed. Across the galaxy, others were thinking the same. Clara, a young scientist from the Tauran species, had once worked under the Council, manipulating Earth's technology to create weapons of war. She had been part of the plan that led to Earth's withdrawal. But now she saw the destruction that had followed. Her people's cities were falling apart. Their fleets were failing. Their entire economy was on the brink of collapse. Why did we ever think we could control them? She whispered to herself, looking at the stars outside her window. And then a thought struck her, a thought that would change everything. She would go to Earth, not to fight, not to beg, but to learn, to ask for guidance, to offer a real chance at redemption. The days turned into weeks. The galaxy continued to spiral into chaos. Some planets fell into anarchy. Others tried to negotiate with the Council, but their pleas went unanswered. But Earth remained silent. General Cortez, now standing alone in the command center, watched as the stars glimmered on the screen. Athena's voice echoed in the room. No response from the galaxy. Many have tried. Some still fight. Some still beg. But they don't understand. Cortez nodded slowly, her face unreadable. They are learning, but it will take time. Athena paused. And what if they fail? Cortez's eyes hardened. Then they fail. Days passed, and finally, an unexpected transmission came through. It wasn't from the Galactic Council. It wasn't from a military fleet. It was from a small, unknown planet, the Zyran homeworld. A lone voice spoke, filled with regret and humility. It was the voice of a leader. We were wrong. We once tried to destroy Earth's future. We built weapons to strike against you. We were blinded by power. But we have learned, and we will show you that we can change. Not for mercy, but to prove we are better than we were. The message echoed across the galaxy, reaching every corner. For the first time, Earth's silence felt like a challenge, not a threat. A test. And now, the galaxy had to make a choice. General Cortez stood in front of the main control panel, watching the response. Her fingers hovered over the keys. Athena's voice was soft. "Will we forgive them?" Cortez closed her eyes for a moment. "No," she said slowly, "but we will give them the chance to prove they are worthy." She pressed the button. And as the response was sent across the stars, a new message appeared on the screen. "We are watching. We are waiting. Prove yourselves. But know this, you are no longer the masters of the galaxy. Earth is the hand that shapes the future." The message was clear. Earth had given the galaxy one last chance. As the message spread across the galaxy, the chaos grew. Some leaders threw up their hands in frustration, unable to accept Earth's terms. Others, however, began to listen. Commander Rulnar, standing on the barren surface of Valor, looked up at the stars. The faint light of Earth's silent watch seemed to stare back at him. "We will prove our worth," he said to his people, "not because we fear them, but because we must honor what they gave us." Far across the stars, Clara, now leading a team of Tal'Ren scientists, worked day and night. She began rebuilding Earth's technology, repairing the damage her people had caused, hoping one day to be forgiven for the mistakes of the past. And so, the galaxy moved into a new era, an era where the greatest lesson was not one of power or destruction. It was a lesson of humility, of proving one's worth through actions, not words. The galaxy would change, not because Earth ruled it, but because Earth had stepped back and allowed others to rise. It was a chance to rebuild, a chance to earn redemption. And the final judgment would come when the galaxy proved it was worthy of Earth's return. The end.